This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
And then what that essentially would mean vis-a-vis the problem that we see in the country at the moment. But Dennis has a proverb that we would like to get your interpretation of to welcome you into the room this morning, and he'll share where it's from and what it is.
Yep, and we are in the island nation of Madagascar. The Malagasy people are interesting people, but let's look at what this country has to offer, apart from the wildlife, some of wildlife that is exclusive to them. So if you're talking about a lemur, let no one ever lie to you that there's a lemur in Kenya. If you wanted to see a lemur, go to Madagascar. And then again, it is also a country where you talk about the main exports that come from Madagascar. You talk about vanilla. Mm-hmm. So it is the world's largest exporter of vanilla, as well as cloves, leeches, coffee and seafood, simply because they are an island nation. So a beautiful country. But the proverb that we get from this country today is, do not be like the chicken that scratches for food while destroying its own nest. How would you interpret that, Mutudo?
It's always good to look wholesomely the situation that you are in, than just crabbling for the short-term gains. You should look at long-term gains in every situation that is around you.
Yeah, Lele.
That's my interpretation.
Lele, how would you interpret
that? I can't agree more, but also you look at the situation of the chicken. The chicken, the habitat and the way it was created is that it has to scratch to get food. So at the same time, while we look at the long-term solution, we should also look at the short-term. Yes.
Yeah. Aptly put.
Aptly put, indeed. All right. So, but let's establish things just a little bit, and we look at drinking in the country and abuse of alcohol has been discussed for a very long time, and that there have been deputy presidents, there have been presidents, there have been lobby groups, there have been members of parliament, there have been civil society groups. There's been JJ Mutuzo, who's been insistent on, there's been NACADA, who've been insistent on making sure that we curb the alcohol abuse problem in the nation. And then we look at these things stringently, not because the need to curb people's entertainment spaces, but because we want to protect life, essentially. We are seeing that younger and younger people are starting their alcohol journey, that the age has reduced significantly, that those 12, 13, 14-year-olds indulging in alcohol in ways which we'll talk about some of them this morning. And this is even with a drinking age of 18, that we see them much lower. And so when we come to this now, which is being suggested, it's not in law yet, it's being suggested that the drinking age be raised to 21 in the country. Please, let's start with you, Lele, as we talk about this. Is it an initiative of NACADA? Is it in partnership with others? And the reasons as to why are we saying raise the age to 21?
Okay. Thank you for having me this morning, and I'm very lucky to have the founding fathers of our very serious act, the NACADA Act of 2010, Mr. Mutudo here, which actually changes the landscape and the regulations of alcohol. When you talk of access, when you talk of control of alcohol, access and availability comes into play. But the proposal actually did not come from NACADA. We've been lucky to have Mutudo, who pushed the passage of the ADCA in 2010 without a policy. So we are now developing a policy to align with what Honorable Mutudo did in 2010, and the world is dynamic. The landscape of alcohol is very dynamic. It changes over time. Let me give you just some statistics that we did a study in around 2018 for primary schools, and the prevalence rate of primary school of alcohol used by primary school kids was 2.6%.
Oh,
yes.
for purposes of clarity,
yes.
primary school, we are talking about between the ages of 7 and 14.
Yes.
And so we're saying the total percentage of children in school, 2.6% are indulging in alcohol.
Yes.
Okay.
We didn't stop there. We came to secondary school. And the secondary school, the age, the percentage increased from 2.6 to 3.8%.
Okay.
Then that was in around 2018. In 2022, we did a national survey. And the national survey, the prevalence of consumption of alcohol in the general population is 11.8.
What?
Yes.
In high school?
No. In the general population. High school is 3.6.
Okay, I was
general
about to get
population
very worried.
is 11.
All right.
In 2023, again, we did a survey for public sector. How is the problem in the public sector? And the prevalence in the public sector is high because you expect there's a lot of disposable income and so many other things. The prevalence is at 23.8%. Last year, in 2024, we did a survey on the status of alcohol and drug abuse at our universities. And the prevalence there was 18.6%.
Okay.
So it's higher than, so you see there is graduation from primary, secondary, and the university.
Okay.
And it's higher in the general population. And what we are talking about is these are our leaders of today and the future. When you look at, so the proposal, we took this proposal and we went through the country. Actually, we visited 10 regions. And 2 regions were outliers. Garissa and Mombasa suggested that the drinking age should be increased to 25. But all the other regions were in agreement that the age should be increased to 21.
Why?
Because psychology and the mental health development of a child is that the brain develops up to the age of 25. So studies have shown that if you indulge in alcohol below the age of 18 years, there is high chances you are going to develop what we call alcohol use disorder. In other case, we are going to be addicted to alcohol. So that one now calls for, that's why there was that conversation that, hey guys, let's increase this age so that we can, at the age of 25, public health, at the age of 21 going forward, the chances of you becoming addicted is lower as opposed to when you're exposed to alcohol much earlier.
Much earlier. Okay,
Yes.
Sorry. Do we look at the reasons why we have a younger age that are even maybe starting
Yes.
to indulge? And I asked this question, and also JJ for you as well.
Yes.
Because if we don't look at the reasons as to why somebody's taking the first drink, or maybe it's introduced. A lot of people tell us they had their first glass of wine maybe when their parents were having something, and they, it could be across board. But if we don't look at that, you can raise the age until 100 if you like, but people are still going to find a way to have a drink. Do we look at the reasons as to why indulging is getting lower and lower in age?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much for inviting us here. And it's always a pleasure when I meet my team from NACADA. Little known about NACADA is that it's made of very serious professionals, extremely serious professionals, and some of the super trained in the field of substance abuse. I don't think there's anywhere in Africa where we have such a high concentration of professionals. That's having been said, we put into their mouth a lot of garbage. NACADA, I headed it, and I really feel good about it when we did Article Law and everything else. And I'll tell you this, that right now, he has said it rightly, and I was looking at him with a lot of empathy, that they have been advised to do 21. But the people advising them did not tell them this, that the constitutional age of voting is 18. So you cannot recognize somebody as an adult on one arm and then come to the other one and come and say that it is
They're a child.
It's a child. So they are telling NACADA to climb a tall, very tall tree and then just subject them to a lot of public ridicule. What NACADA needs, and I'm will be very candid here, is that if you look at Article law, and going forward, I will advise this, that any law you make or any subsequent regulations must never fly on the face of the Constitution. So the first test of the law is that it is constitutional. Anything you want to do and contradicts or contravenes the provisions of the Constitution is null and void, or null ab initio. So NACADA is eager to minimize, to reduce access to alcohol, which can be done by reduction of, like we are talking about, reduction of the number of bars, then looking at the age that you're trying to do here, looking at the distance between the schools, hospitals, and those kind of institutions. All those things, those are measures to reduce access. So when we did the Article law, and let me tell you this, Kenyans, that Article law is a result of 103 years research into alcohol problem in Kenya. It's not an overnight thing. The whole story started on 17th of August 1907. That is when the first legislature sat, and the first bill was to stop the slave trade. The second one was about alcohol, intoxicating alcohol. So, to getting to the point, Article law, or like any other law, was supposed to be supported by 4 regulations. 4. Number 1 regulation was on access. That is the infamous or famous Mutudo laws. That's access. Talks about access. Access. You reduce access to alcohol, and then you are good. But the critical one, the critical 3 other regulations, number 1 being quality of alcohol, were never gazetted. It's not in the business of NACADA to gazette regulations. That is the executive to do it. And I have appeared before, and I'm sure they are reasoning to me, because some of them are in heaven like Saitoti. They are reasoning to me. They know I'm telling the truth, that the regulation on quality is on their desk. The third regulation was on enforcement. There was to be a tailor-made unit, which is not necessarily drawn from the police force, to talk about to deal with enforcement, and it was to be drawn on specific terms, and the funding of that is provided for in Section 5.5 of that same Act, so that we don't have a cash flow problem in funding the enforcement. And the final one was treatment or rehabilitation services, the 4 regulations.
Right.
Those ones were never done. So NACADA is left there, high and dry, with only 1 regulation out of 4.
Okay.
Then the other nasty bit is that the late President Mwai Kibaki, and again he's in heaven, he's listening, with Minister Gedai, put it as a policy statement, and it is there appearing on paragraph number 50 of the budget speech 2010-2011, that NACADA should have a minimum of 1 billion shillings, 1 billion shillings to deal with alcohol menace. Forget about even the drugs. Today, let me surprise you. He may not wish to talk about it, but he knows, I know, that the total budget for NACADA is less than 1 billion, roughly 950 million. It is hardly enough to mobilize them. They share 1 vehicle, 5 counties or 7 counties. He's not allowed to say that, I'm sure. But I do know, because I'm an interested party. And I'm really not inviting him to comment on that. So on the issue of 21, let them fund NACADA adequately to do what they are very good in doing. And forget about the 21 story. There are many, many other serious issues they are dealing with, like contamination of lollipops with some drugs, like substandard rehabs all over the country.
I want to go back into the issue that if we are going to, usually they say that if you're going to sort out a problem, you need to know the genesis of the problem. So now we are saying there's the proliferation of alcohol use and then going towards abuse. We are saying that there is a younger age of Kenya's population involved in alcohol use, starting to taste earlier.
Yes.
And I'm asking, has there been insights into the reasons why? The number of people who are drinking today at a younger age is not the same as it was when Mutudo was at NACADA.
Yes.
It has increased
Yes.
in terms of number, and it has reduced in terms of age.
Yes.
Why?
The first one is, let me try to respond. I'm not a legal expert, but you know, when you're developing a policy, you think through. Even at the Constitution and everything else. The Constitution, even the ADCA prescribed 21 years. No, 18. In 18, you can vote. In 18, you can marry. In 18, you can do anything. But I think Article 24 of the Constitution give limited adjustments. Let me give you an example. For you to acquire a PSV driving license, which is for you to drive matatus, which age is that? NTSA has set it at 24.
24 years
Does
old,
that contravene the Constitution? It doesn't. What we want is an honest conversation. That is this population, as the brain develops, do we have more benefits by raising 21 to 21 years? That's an honest conversation we want to have around. You ask about the reason behind. In Kenya, we have a middle class problem, whereby we celebrate any celebration is alcohol centric, and if it's alcohol centric, that means we expose our children. We drink in our homes, and the children looks at us when we drink. One of the questions that interesting question that arises is that when we were doing the primary school survey is that the kids were telling the teacher, you tell us the alcohol is bad, but my parent is rich and you're not rich. Is that so? We have an issue of parenting. And that we have a program called Positive Parenting, that we are engaging parents that if you have to indulge away from the kids. We are engaging the community. We are engaging the religious institutions because we want what we call behavior change communication. And this only in Kenya. You don't see this thing in Tanzania. You don't see it in our neighbors in Uganda. Yes.
You don't see which thing? What thing?
The level, the behavior change, the behavior surrounding alcohol consumption.
And what's... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yep.
Yes.
So when you talk about the policy that is being put in place,
Yes.
The behavioral changes that you talk about, there is one aspect that everyone just keeps asking. Is the problem with regard to alcohol consumption in Kenya based off lack of enforcement because we already have a policy? Or is it that NACADA cannot just do it? Because I'll give you a story. I remember when the Mutudo laws had just been launched back in the days, there was the timeline issue on when bars are supposed to open and when bars are supposed to operate, to close down.
Yes.
And you remember how that was such a big thing in the country, and people followed that. I remember at one point when I was still a young journalist, I was doing an investigative piece. I got into a club in a residential area. And at exactly around 11 p.m., there was a police vehicle there. And everyone in that club was picked up because they were operating outside the policy and the law. As we speak today, with regard to the matters that you're talking about, age not being a factor, is NACADA able to enforce the already available policy?
Yes, we do enforce. And I'm happy Honorable Mutudo has brought about the issues of enforcement. And we are now currently having, although lean, we are currently having an enforcement unit in NACADA, parallel to the National Police Service. But we rely heavily on the National Police Service. But you cannot law and mischief. The people want to be the law. That's where the problem is. But one of the challenges we are facing is enforcement. But we are working with our sister organizations, the National Police Service, which are doing a good job. But we are now focusing more on the community, because if the community is where the there was a survey that was released by, I think it's called the Euromonitor by the industry, and they are saying that 40% of alcohol consumed in Kenya is illegal. So why illegal? Because of the adulteration that Honorable says, because of the traditional brews and everything else. So if we work with the community, if we work with the religious institution, that one has worked in Rwanda in a period of 5 years. Through strict enforcement and community involvement, they reduce underage alcohol consumption by 40% over a period of 5 years. Yes.
I think the officer, this be fair to the officer director Rirei, my view, and let it be noted by Kenyans, NACADA is grossly underfunded, underestablished, and doesn't have the necessary tools to do what they can be able to do. They do a fantastic job like in research. They hire universities and they give real data, like you're hearing 18%, 2.5%, and so forth and so on. But what do you expect when the average spending or investment on NACADA on per addict is about 8 shillings per annum? That's my calculation. How would it work out? So if this government is serious, it should learn from US, learn from Singapore, learn from Thailand, and learn from India, and have a functional NACADA, not by way of mouth. And there's no need of victimizing officers who are at NACADA. I'm saying they must have all the facilities that they're asking for, because enforcement, and you have a very strong point. What went wrong?
Exactly.
NACADA does not have the capacity to scout all the pubs at night to know which one never followed them to the road. They do not have the capacity to come and scout and know which children got what alcohol. They don't have the capacity to have a proper lab work to know that this alcohol is not fit. They would have tried on.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does NACADA stand for? What is the acronym? The National Authority
for the campaign
against alcohol
and drug
abuse.
Yes.
So it takes on a coordination mechanism.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a campaign.
It's a campaign.
Yes.
It's a
and
campaign.
the campaign is coordinated.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a coordinated campaign.
Exactly. And why I'm asking that question is, it is not only in bars or pubs or clubs that alcohol is being ingested.
Exactly.
In this day and age, we have, according to your own admission, children in primary school, and I dare say that even that percentage that you have is not the full extent of it. There are children in high school who, guess what? These bottles that they walk around with in their bags
Yes.
that are supposed to have water, they have alcohol. Somebody's selling this alcohol to them. Somebody, and for a reason, and that's why I keep going back to the reason, that if that reason is not being looked at, is not being addressed across stakeholders, then we can do enforcement. You can have police driving in vehicles, shutting down pubs. You can do all that as the day is long. But if we've not addressed the issue as to why that's happening, it might be difficult for us to stop that behavior from going on. I don't know if that makes sense. Is that something?
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, for a long time we've been placing this role of the alcohol consumption and access to the enforcement. But we want to shift that strategy to everyone. It's an individual responsibility. You as a parent, you as a neighbor, as a teacher, as everybody else. When you look at the study that we did for the universities, most of these drugs were accessed through the staff working within the university. So it's a community issue that we need to have an honest conversation around it, so that we don't give all the responsibilities of enforcement to enforcement officers, and all of us have a responsibility to play. There is this element of, I told you, the celebration, the alcohol centrism. You in any celebration, you have to have alcohol. So can we have safe environment where the kids can enjoy without alcohol, free safe environment?
Good question.
Yes.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
I want us to take a break at this point.
Yes,
We'll come back and look at this into a little bit deeper. I know Dennis has quite some to get through. We will when we come back. Kirua Lele Ngenyi is the Deputy Director of Planning and Performance Management with NACADA. And founding father of the NACADA Act is JG Mututo. He's here with us this morning. We're looking into that, of course, the age, but it goes beyond that in terms of what the issues really are going into that. I want to remind you, even as we're going to this break, have you gone and downloaded the Loop app on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store? You need to do it. And for those of you who already have, you're looking into where we say, you know what, Loop is not just an app, it's a lifestyle. You're going to run into a situation every now and then when you need a little bit of help. And so the Loop Quick Loan helps you then to be able to do that with a loan of up to 100,000 shillings, no hidden costs, no outrageous fees, no lining up, no check and bring your uncle's goat for collateral. No, it doesn't happen like that. All you need to do is click on the Grow tab. Click on the Grow tab and apply for that loan, and you see what you get. Now, when you do that, I need you to take a screenshot of that and send it to us. Today, you could get 5,000 shillings to lengthen what it is that you need to do. So with Loop, 5,000 bob as you apply for that loan and send it to us, Spice FM KE on our socials, and we'll let you know at the end of this who gets a little extra to push things along this morning. Loop is not just an app, it's a lifestyle.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Ongeza grass. Uhudumu, ongeza grass. Samahani wait. Ongeza grass. Uhudumu, ongeza grass. Acha nilewe. Nilewe tu. Nilewe. Nilewe tu.
Dial *811*897# to get this as your skiza tune. KTN, ndio home.
Hey Baba, Olodumare, my one and only, the giver of life.
Everybody telling me to. Everybody telling me to. Well, everybody telling me to.
Go, go shorty. We gon' party like it's your birthday. Go, go.
Desperado.
DJ Tatua.
Mamigo. Balotelli. Ladies to give me fuck.
I just want to hear straight from you, if those accusations are true.
Hey, stop. Don't tell me that's going to be our first kiss, Edward. Besides, I haven't brushed my teeth in 40 days.
Lucky for her that the 40 days countdown won't even affect her, since she's not really dead.
Maybe there's another way for you to return to your body.
So we're approaching Juliano Avenue. We're almost at the place that Robbie guy said Jane's family is using as a hideout.
As soon as you find him.
Unasonga huko Kirumali mbali unatoa then you come back when you are not nearly mpati. Sawa sawa.
Okay, mtosi.
Usikuwa umeniitia hizo wazimu sana. Nimekuja tu kwa sababu umeniambia kuna nini?
Sasa nikwambie mama.
Hatuna kitu mama.
Mwa Brown. Ile kitu utaenda kunjionea leo. Sikundanganyi. Ni ajabu.
Makaa inaendaje kwa nyama? Na mimi ndio nauliza. Hizi zenyu zinaingiaje kwa makaa? Kwani nikikona ingo hivi mikakati. Mikakati ninjeke kona. Ndio ngone kwa. Tuta fuata vile tuli. Unajua kitu moja. Naitwa mikakati.
Leta mtu wa manage nyumba yako. Mimi msichana nitafuta hapa. Nilete panga inikate. Inikate miguu. Excuse me sister, kidogo. Ani majirani wako?
Kabisa. My good neighbor.
Na wewe? Ulikucha lini?
Na singo, twende.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
And they promised, for instance, on drugs, on rehabilitation services, development, on rehabilitation services, that is people who are already affected. They promised 2 billion shillings then. Notwithstanding the 1 billion shillings, which was meant for the campaign against alcohol abuse. We were there with my CEO in the senior most committee, the budget committee, and it was passed. So why it never happened can only be answered by the legislators. They are just, they blow cold air and hot air at the same time. They know the problem. You look places like Kikuyu, their area. You look at any point, the situation is just deadly as of now. It is very bad. For NACADA to continue telling us that this situation is as it used to be in a particular area, they need funding. They need to fuel their vehicles. They will need to come on and pay for the researchers and other things. That's what we are saying. Because look at the development vote, for instance, this year. I'll be shocked if they have more than 100 million shillings for the development, the whole of NACADA. True, they have bought new vehicles, 4 vehicles, in 47 counties. What do? 4 vehicles in 10 years. What can they do? What should be done? And that's why I came this morning. And incidentally, I drove from Nakuru this morning. What I came to tell people that stop blaming NACADA. Blame the members of parliament. They are simply catalysts of that bad behavior that we are seeing with our children now. They cannot be able to fund this organization properly. And if they can cite inefficiency at NACADA, then they are at liberty to come and sack them.
Are they citing inefficiency at NACADA? Is that the problem?
No.
They're not?
Yes, they're not, yes.
They're not citing inefficiency at NACADA. What would they be saying the problem is?
Resources are infinite. The resources are not infinite. And let me not indulge into the resources part. Allow me to put something across here. At the 2010 Constitution, the licensing of alcoholic drinks selling outlets was devolved to the county governments. So we are having an engagement with the county government so that we have, there was a conversation of density, and it was in the Mutudo law, the population and the density of alcoholic selling outlet within a given area.
Please allow me to correct that particular bit, because there is a misnomer.
Yes.
If you look at the pharmacy board, you look at the pharmacy and the pharmacy law, NACADA is supposed to have operated like the pharmacy board. You cannot open and operate a pharmacy without, first of all, the pharmacy boards being satisfied so that the county government can come in. That role that would empower the Lay's team to go to every pub prior to anybody else coming to license has been ignored. We go round and round in circles. The situation is supposed to be simple, clear, that I want to open a pub called Kajinga Pub just outside the starting school. That Kajinga Pub, the first officers to come in is Public Health and NACADA, who check the suitability. Then once they issue that certificate like this, then I now can go to the county government of Nairobi or Nakuru or the other place. That's how it's supposed to be in an orderly fashion. Now, what they did, when they found the loophole, they went around saying they're creating their own alcoholic ADCA laws all over the country, which is just what Mutudo had put, only they changed this is Muranga, this is Kiambu, this is whatever it is.
Okay.
But how come there are no laws on pharmacy originating from each of those assemblies in the same wave and the strength of that one? The background of NACADA problem arises from a standard, which I would like to discuss in another day, another forum, called dealing with spirit. And that standard allowed anybody to come and take industrial alcohol, dilute, flavor, repackage, and then put it in the market.
Okay, so let's come back off of what Mr. Lele was saying in terms of then now how that work is done and coordinated.
Initially there was Initially, the working relationship between us and NACADA was not acrimonious, but now we're having an acrimonious working relationship with county governments. And even in terms of now enforcement, we are involving the national police, the Ngao, and the county. You know, they have their enforcement because they are licensing. They are people who are licensed, and that's the multi-sectoral approach we want to go through it. In terms of the, you talked about initiation rights. Yeah. You know, that's just a cover-up because nowadays people are moving out. That's why we are saying our strategy now is community, because we want to engage them. We can tell them you can do your initiation without alcohol. Yes.
Correct.
And some in my community, some of the members have accepted that. Yes, we are doing initiation without alcohol. Yes. So that one is just a cover-up that for you to access alcohol and everything else. But you can do the ceremonies without alcohol.
So when we talk about coordination, especially with the National Police Service, right?
Yes.
So you find a situation where we have the policies that are in place. So there is the acrimonious relationship between NACADA and the county government with regard to establishment of local of pubs in especially residential areas.
Yes.
I would give you a personal example. Where I stay, there are different schools. But then you find there is a club and several pubs that are close to that vicinity. Yeah. And with that, over time, I have seen high school students walk into these pubs and buy alcohol.
Yes.
But then again, you find that every evening there is a police vehicle parked outside these pubs and bars, not to close them down, not to do any investigations, but to collect bribe. How does that then make it difficult for NACADA to enforce the policy?
We don't want to go to the blame game kind of. We are here to have a conversation.
It is a question. How difficult does it make it for you to do your job
because
when an arm of government that you're supposed to work together with is not pulling its weight and doing its role?
There are mechanisms of addressing that, and we engage the relevant authorities, but. As NACADA, we want an honest conversation. If you open a wines and spirits and a student comes and you suspect this student, you suspect the age, you have, your conscience should tell you, you have to ask for an ID. Can I have your ID before I sell? But we are greedy enough to allow these children to access alcohol because we want to make profit. But for a sober society, what we want to engage, we are going to run a program with bar owners to have a conversation with them, to educate them, so that anybody who they suspect as a young person, they ask for identification. Let me give you an example. In the US, they've raised the age to 21 years, and one of the success rates there is enforcement. The people who sell alcohol, if they suspect that you are underage, they ask for identification, and they have a right to not to sell to you. That's the culture we want to cultivate within ourselves, so that when I start a pub or when I start a wines and spirits, and someone comes and I suspect this person to be underage, I can ask for identification, of which we don't do currently. So this conversation should come from all of us. We should have what we call a sober discussion around it and how to tackle it. You can still make your profits by selling alcohol to the right people. You can still make profit by, even if we raise the age, you can still to 21 years, you can still make profit. And we've saved a generation. We've made these people not to become predisposed to alcohol use disorder at the later age. Yes.
Same thing again. Now he's here. I don't want to ask him how many officers he's having in Nairobi today.
You seem to be hell-bent on the issue that the resources is what is not allowing this.
They are underpowered. They don't have the personnel. They don't have the money. I don't want him to comment about it because I know. I was their boss, so I know what I'm talking about. The funding level in 2009-2010 is much higher than the funding level in 2025. That's a fact for NACADA. And no matter how much we try to paint white on NACADA, they cannot be able to know and do what is right because they are underfunded. That notwithstanding, I want to say this, that the police, and I have documented it, I've said it in this station, and I'm going to say it again here, it is in record that people give certain loyalties to police officers every day, every hour, and it is a known norm, just like the traffic people. It is known. At one point, I pinpointed some stations in Nairobi where they were getting an average, an OCS was getting an average of 1.8 million per 1.8 million per month for studying in. Also, that time at the regional offices, I pointed out and they gave details, even to EACC, of people who pay up to 5 million to the regional offices for that protection. I gave details that there are goons who are also paid equivalent so that they can also back up the police. That one I gave, and I given it before. I gave it to our superiors in the interior and so forth. And finally, if you want to know how sensitive alcohol is, ask why Mutudha is not in parliament.
Why is Mutudha not in parliament?
Mutudha is not in parliament because on the election date, as two industries, one did 35 million on the election date at night, another one did 55.
When you say they did, what does that mean?
They brought in money and said that Mutudha is a very powerful man, very intelligent, very good man, and thank you for their compliment. But he's not supposed to be elected to parliament because the president wants to appoint him a minister. It was that simple. So 35 million, and then from Bar Owners Association, thank you, kudos, you paid 5 million. So there was 35, then 5 million, and the 55. That notwithstanding, the person who organized all that, there was a consultant who was paid 60 million shillings. That was good. So today I focus now on treatment, and I run a very big rehab at Nakuru, the biggest rehab in East and Central Africa, called John Mutudha Empowerment Center. But that does not divorce me from saying what I have to say for the benefit of my children, my glad children, you and me. Because even as early as today, a drunkard made me lose a critical 50 minutes at Kikuyu, because he came and swerved in front of my car and scratched my car when I was driving in this way. So even when you are not a party to that mess, they still bring you to it. Me, what I would say going forward, simple things that can be done. Can the deputy president, who is now sitting, just tell us something, no matter how kidogo tu, let him talk about alcohol and support NACADA. Just kidogo tu. Because I've tried to reason, I've tried to Google, I'm checking all over. I can't see anything. The previous one was at least talking. Can the president also talk about it? But particularly the deputy president, can he talk something about it? And most importantly, Bandi, we were with you in parliament. You know the truth. What you are giving NACADA is peanuts. Let us not hide behind protocols and other things. NACADA would require not less than 8 billion shillings to run effectively. And let's stop blame game. And that money is not for consumption, so that they can be able to answer the question you're asking us. What went wrong? Why are we having children in pubs at this very early age? Because up until now, we have not answered you. We have not answered you the basic question. Is it that there's the gatekeeper there was absent? No. The reason is that the person who's supposed to supervise the bars was not there to supervise. Because during our time, I had 5,000 contacts. And they could call me from Mandela, from Musambweni, they could call me from somewhere. And once I get that contact, I would go straight to the police hotline and tell them there's somebody with a kid somewhere in Kirinyaga at a pub called so-and-so, such and such. And they would go there, usually 5-15 minutes. There was very good coordination. Because the NACADA then was able to respond.
So let's assume, Mr. Lele, that the issue is resources, because obviously there's a certain amount of frustration that, you want to then be able to cover everything. So let's assume that it's a resource issue and that the resources have then been applied. Do you see that the problems that we face now today, enforcement issues, a lower age of those who are consuming alcohol, would those issues then be sorted out? If it's a resource issue, like what JJ is saying, would those issues be sorted out?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This thing revolve around behavior change and the way community. Currently, although thin, we are at 35 counties as we speak. We are covering 35 counties. We have a toll-free number called 1192, where we get all these reports. We have counselors based now in our. We have a rehabilitation center in Miritini, Mombasa. We have 6 counselors there daily, and we have counselors 2. Manning a desk in Kiambu for what honorable member said about the if they're reporting a pub, they're reporting an incident, even gender-based violence, they normally report. So if we are not in tandem, if we are not willing to have a behavior change towards how we perceive consumption of alcohol, access, and everything else, even if we have those resources, it could still be a challenge.
And one would ask, so far you speak of behavioral change and having this conversation with the community.
Yes.
So far, how is it going?
Currently, we've established 35 community working groups in the 35 counties we're in. And these are members...